Patricia drove up to the farm expecting grief. Not a brand new padlock and a no trespassing sign, swinging in the breeze.
Grandpa left this property to me. He told me so himself, and the family knows it. You are not coming in, Patricia.
He's been busy.
I've already changed the locks. There's nothing for you here.
She didn't flinch. Her eyes held his for one long moment. Then she turned and walked back to her truck, her fingers closed around the door handle, knuckles white but her face gave nothing away.
He thinks a lock keeps me out. He forgets whose land this really is.
She had worked this farm with Grandpa every summer since she could walk. The soil knew her boots.
Verbal promises don't hold up in court. Grandpa taught me better than that.
She drove off without a backward glance, the county road stretching ahead like an unanswered question. The truck tires hummed on the asphalt, carrying her past fields she once walked with him. Summers here meant calloused hands and lessons about soil that no book could teach.
He taught me land isn't just dirt. It's the only promise men like us can keep.
Her phone buzzed against the seat. She glanced at the caller ID and her jaw tightened.
Aunt Helen, what's William saying?
The voice was sharp with conviction. William was telling everyone Patricia wanted to steal the farm.
He changed the locks before I even got there. But I am the thief. He's trying to make me the villain before I can prove the truth.
She ended the call and turned toward town. The county recorder's office was still open. The brick building stood quiet. She walked inside with nothing but her keys and a question.
I need to see the survey map and deed for the old Reeves farm. Of course. Let me pull those for you.
Mrs. Forrester disappeared into the back, returning with a thick folder and a long-rolled survey.
Her finger traced the property line. There it was, clear as day. Her name.
Patricia's name sat across the homestead and 20 acres, the parcel where the farmhouse stood.
William's name was relegated to a back lot and the old barn, barely a quarter of what he claimed.
He doesn't know. None of them do. And she wouldn't tell them until she knew how to use this.
Is everything all right, dear?
Yes, thank you. Could I get copies?
She paid for the copies, rolled the map carefully, and slipped the deed into her jacket. The truth sat heavy in her hands. She walked out of the records office, the rolled map tucked under her arm like a weapon. In the truck, she spread the survey across the passenger seat and traced the boundary with her finger.
The line cut through the old creek bed. Exactly where Grandpa said it did.
A memory surfaced. Grandpa Harold, kneeling in the dirt, telling her, land doesn't lie, paper does. Her phone rang. The caller ID read William. She let it ring twice before answering.
I know you went to the county office, Patricia. Snooping won't change Grandpa's word. Come near this farm again, and I'll charge you with trespassing. I mean it.
She could hear the bluff in his voice. He was scared.
She said nothing, just listened to his breathing on the other end.
She ended the call and studied the map again. The proof was there, but she wasn't ready to use it. Not yet.
Patricia returned to the farm gate, the rolled survey map firm in her grasp.
William, I have the county deed. The land is split. The homestead is mine.
Piece of paper doesn't override what Grandpa told me face to face.
The family on the porch nodded along, their eyes flicking between him and Patricia with cold disapproval.
Look at the boundary line. It's signed and recorded. This isn't a promise. It's legal fact.
You'd use a technicality to take my home? I'll see you in court before I let that happen.
Patricia looked past him. For a heartbeat, she caught Aunt Helen's eyes, a flicker of doubt before it vanished.
Arguing won't change their minds. She needed stronger proof, not louder words.
She turned on her heel, the map clutched tight, and walked back to her truck, the screen of voices rising behind her. She drove off with the deed still in her pocket, and the map on the seat. The lock on the gate hadn't moved, but her resolve only hardened. The fluorescent lights of the recorder's office buzzed as she pushed through the door, the map still under her arm.
Mrs. Forrester, I need to confirm this deed is enough to enforce a boundary dispute.
Oh, Patricia, I was hoping you'd come back. Your grandfather left something here for you.
The clerk disappeared into the back again, returning with a small yellowed envelope, not a thick file.
Her hands trembled as she saw her name on it, in Grandpa's own handwriting. He left this here? When?
Years ago. He said you'd know when the time was right.
She took the envelope, the paper soft with age, and held it against the rolled map, as if it could anchor her.
Whatever was inside, she knew it would change everything.
She didn't open it there. She thanked the clerk and walked back to her truck, the envelope burning in her pocket. She sat in the truck, the envelope resting on her lap like a final word. Carefully, she slid her thumb under the seal. The paper cracked, releasing a whisper of dust. She unfolded the letter and read Grandpa's first words. Patricia, if you are reading this, the farm is in danger.
William tried to mortgage the property 6 years ago. I stopped him, but I knew he'd try again.
That's why I split the deed. The homestead is yours. He gets the barn lot, nothing more. A memory surfaced. Grandpa Harold, voice like stone, telling William by the barn, "You won't gamble with this land. Protect the farm. Patricia, you are the only one who understands what it means."
Grandpa had known. He had built all this to catch William the moment he tried to steal.
She folded the letter, her cheeks wet, but her jaw set hard. The truth was a weapon now, and Patricia intended to use it.
She started the engine and drove back into town, heading straight for the copy shop.
At the counter, she laid out the deed and the letter, the clerk's eyes widening at the legal documents.
I need 3 copies of each. Double-sided.
The copier hummed, spitting out duplicates of the map and Grandpa's final words, proof against any lie.
She paid, then drove home and spread the survey map on the kitchen table before dialing the sheriff's number.
Sheriff Thompson speaking.
Sheriff, this is Patricia Reeves. I have a property dispute at my grandfather's farm. I need you to witness the boundary.
What kind of dispute, ma'am?
A deed split that's being ignored. I have the documents here. Can you meet me at the farm tomorrow morning?
I'll be there at 9 a.m. Bring your proof, and we'll sort this out.
At 9 a.m., a plume of dust rose on the farm road. Sheriff Thompson's patrol car pulled up beside her.
William and half the family spilled onto the porch, their faces hardening when they saw the patrol car.
What's this, Patricia? You called the law on family?
I called the sheriff to witness the deed, William. Something you refused to do.
Ma'am, these documents match county records. The boundary is clear. I am posting a corrected notice.
The sheriff's staple gun snapped twice, pinning the notice to the fence post.
This isn't over. I'll sue you both for trespassing.
You can try, but the county stands behind this map. I suggest you abide by it.
The family on the porch whispered, their allegiance wavering like a candle in wind.
The boundary was posted, but the farmhouse door still gleamed with its new deadbolt. Patricia could only stare at it.
Possessions 9/10. Patricia, you can own the dirt, but this house is still mine.
Patricia didn't answer, but her mind flashed back to a summer day 20 years ago. Grandpa Harold had pressed a key into her palm. In case of trouble, he'd said, "This opens everything."
That key might still be at home in the box of Grandpa's things.
She drove home, the map beside her, and dug through the closet where she kept his old belongings. She spread the map on the kitchen table, then pulled down a dusty box from the shelf.
Old photos, a pocket watch, and at the bottom, a key ring with a worn tag. Farm.
She held it up, the metal cold against her palm. Would it still fit the new lock?
She drove back to the farm, the key sitting on the passenger seat next to the map. The farmhouse door waited, the deadbolt still shining. Patricia parked the truck and curled her fingers around the key. Patricia stepped onto the porch, the key ring dangling from her finger. William's smirk vanished the instant he saw it.
That's breaking and entering. I'll have you arrested.
She's the legal owner. If she has a key, she can use it.
The key slid into the deadbolt without a sound. The metal glinted in the morning light.
He only changed the cylinder. Grandpa's key still fits the mechanism inside.
William lunged, but the sheriff blocked him with a firm hand.
Stay put. If that key turns, you are the trespasser.
The family on the porch leaned in, their whispers replaced by stunned silence. Even Aunt Helen's expression shifted.
Her hand rested on the key, the boundary sign visible over William's shoulder. The sheriff nodded once.
This key is the last promise Grandpa kept. Once it turns,
There's no undoing what comes next.
She turned the key. The deadbolt clicked open, a sound louder than any argument. Patricia pushed the door open and stepped inside. The threshold seemed to hold its breath.
The air smelled of wood smoke and coffee, the same as it always had.
William roared and lunged, but Sheriff Thompson blocked him. One arm locked across his chest.
I said, stay put. She's the owner of this house, and that key proves it.
The family on the porch exchanged stunned glances. Aunt Helen covered her mouth with her hand.
Her boots sounded on the worn floorboards. The place she'd helped Grandpa refinish at 16. I'm home.
William kept shouting, but the sheriff didn't release him. Outside, the boundary sign stood firm.
Patricia walked to the window and looked out at the posted boundary, her hand resting on the sill. She wandered into the kitchen and touched the worn arm of Grandpa's chair, the fabric still holding his shape. A memory flashed. She and Grandpa canning peaches on this same table, his hands steady over the jars.
You think a key makes this right? I'll tie you up in court for years, Patricia.
Lower your voice, or I'll escort you to the barn for the day. You've got your lot.
Patricia ignored the noise. She moved to the mantel and lifted a framed photo of Grandpa, his smile unchanged. A tear traced her cheek. She whispered, I am sorry it came to this. She walked through the hallway and stopped at the back door, the screen throwing a grid of sunlight onto the floor.
The barn lot was his. She could end this now, but the letter would brand him a fraud forever.
Her hand drifted to her pocket where the copy of the letter lay, folded and silent.
She had to decide who she wanted to be, the woman who destroyed him or the one who protected the farm.
Patricia pushed open the screen door and stepped into the afternoon light. The family and sheriff had gathered near the posted boundary.
I am not evicting you, William. The barn lot is yours by law. Take it or leave it.
William's face twisted from anger to disbelief. His mouth opened, but no sound came.
You expect me to live in a barn?
It's more than you gave her. I suggest you accept.
Patricia pulled the deed copy from her pocket, not the letter, and held it up, and held it up.
This is what Grandpa intended. Homestead to me, barn to you. No more, no less.
No one moved. The wind dragged a dry leaf along the fence line. A voice rose from the porch. It's fair, William. Patricia didn't turn to see who spoke. William stared at the deed copy, his chest heaving. The sheriff gestured toward the barn.
This isn't over. I'll tie this up in so much litigation you'll both regret stepping foot here.
Patricia didn't flinch. She pulled the folded letter from her jacket and opened it slowly.
He wrote, William tried to mortgage the property 6 years ago. I stopped him, but I knew he'd try again.
From the porch, gasps tore through the family like a rip in dry cloth. William's face went gray.
Mortgage fraud's a felony in this county, William. I suggest you cooperate.
William's hands dropped to his sides. The fight drained from his shoulders.
Aunt Helen's voice cracked from the porch. You mortgaged the farm, William. Behind all our backs.
Grandpa knew. He planned for this. I kept his promise, William. You are still family, but this farm is not your playground.
I'll keep the boundary posted. If he causes trouble, you call me.
William stood alone in the dirt, the letter's truth burning brighter than any lock he had ever installed. Without another word, William hoisted a cardboard box from the porch and trudged toward the barn, his shadow long on the dirt. The family on the porch scattered like seeds in a gust, their murmurs low and uncertain as they debated what to do. Aunt Helen approached Patricia, her voice thick with remorse, but no words came that could undo the damage.
Patricia nodded, but the knot in her chest didn't loosen.
Others followed with tentative apologies, some simply turning away to their cars.
The boundary will be enforced, but I hope you both find a way to live with it.
Patricia watched the sheriff's car trail dust as it disappeared down the lane. She looked toward the barn, where William's silhouette moved through the open doors, unpacking his life. The sun sank lower, casting the farm in amber and shadow. The boundary sign catching the last light, she turned and walked back inside, the door closing softly behind her. The house was still now, the air thick with memory. She moved to Grandpa's study, where his desk sat under a layer of dust.
She set the photo down, and her thumb caught on a seam in the wood, a hidden panel.
She pressed it, and a small compartment slid open, revealing a velvet pouch. She unfolded a note and read, "For Patricia," who always understood.
Her breath caught. The watch was his, the one she had admired as a child.
She wound it, and the steady tick filled the silence like a heartbeat returning.
He left her more than land. He left her the promise of this moment.
She carried the watch to the porch and sat in Grandpa's rocker, the field stretching before her. The watch ticked in her palm as the sun dipped low, painting the farm in gold.
For the first time, the farm felt like hers, and his.
The sunset deepened. Patricia stood from the rocker and walked to the door. The key still in her pocket, she stepped outside and closed the door behind her, the deadbolt clicking into place. With a slow breath, she slid the key into the lock and turned it, the bolt shooting home.
Then, just as deliberately, she unlocked it again. The final proof that this house obeyed only her. She pushed the door open and stepped back into the warm glow of the kitchen, leaving the evening behind.
William still stood by the barn watching. She gave a small nod.
It wasn't forgiveness, but it was enough for now.
She closed the door firmly, the sound echoing across the yard.
The lock clicked shut, but this time it was on her terms. She leaned against the door and smiled, the key still in her hand. The farm was hers.
A week passed before the first car returned. Aunt Helen got out alone, her posture hesitant. Patricia led her inside and showed her the framed deed and letter hanging on the wall.
Grandpa knew what he was doing. He planned for all of this.
Her aunt ran a finger over the glass, eyes glistening, and said nothing. That was enough. That was enough. Others came slowly, cousins who had watched from the porch but hadn't spoken. They brought no excuses, only quiet presence. William kept his distance, but one morning he met her at the fence line with a toolbox.
I should fix that hinge on the barn door.
That's your place. Do what you want with it.
He nodded once and turned away. A truce, fragile as new grass, but it held. The farm didn't forget the fight, but it began to breathe again. Evening settled like a blanket. Patricia lowered herself into the rocking chair on the porch.
Beside her on the railing lay the rolled survey map and Grandpa's letter, the paper soft with handling.
The county map still had her name on it. Grandpa had made sure of that.
The fields rolled out beyond the fence. The new boundary sign, a faint silhouette in the fading light. She closed her eyes. For the first time in weeks, her shoulders dropped.
She had kept her promise. She had fought for the land as hard as she had ever worked it.
A deep breath, then a slight smile. The screen door creaked in the breeze, but she didn't move. The map and the letter rested beside her. Proof of a battle won, now simply relics of a story.
Outside, the barn light flickered on. Inside, Patricia was home. The last daylight brushed her face, softening the lines around her eyes.
She touched the silver ring on her finger, turning it slowly as she gathered her thoughts.
I kept my promise, Grandpa.
The screen door creaked behind her, a sound as familiar as her own heartbeat.
She closed her eyes, and a single tear slipped down her cheek. A breeze lifted the corner of the letter, but she did not reach for it. In the distance, the barn stood dark, but for a square of yellow light. She opened her eyes and let the land hold her gaze.
A deep, quiet breath. Then the faintest curve of a smile. Her hand came to rest on the letter, the map, the proof, but peace was the only thing she held now. The farmhouse stood against the indigo sky, windows glowing warm and low.
In the foreground, the corrected boundary sign caught the last breath of daylight. No trespassing sign remained. Only the legal truth, staked into the earth.
The field stretched silent and whole, the split now invisible under the darkening grass. A light switched on in the barn, and for a moment, the farm held its breath.
It was the same land Patricia had walked as a child, the same soil that held Grandpa's promise. Now, it was hers. Not by force, but by law and by love. The county map still had her name on it, just as Grandpa had written it all those years ago.
The screen door creaked one last time, then fell silent. And the land, as it always had, endured.